Greetings, everyone! CyberFrog has arrived! And the package was quite unbent, thankfully. I have been waiting over a year to read this puppy, and now I finally got the chance to. But before that, I'm going to give a little context on my history with comic books, and that goes back to Star Wars The Last Jedi, oddly. Because of them, I found World Class Bullshitters, and EVS was on there at one point and sounded pretty funny and awesome, and said he was making some Star Wars videos, so I go over and check him out, and he's, doing his videos talking about Star Wars, and it's pretty funny. And then just every now and then, he'd just slip in a little, hey, I'd share, I've got this little drawing for a little frog guy, a little superhero. It's okay, nothing. Back to Star Wars. And then, here there's some bees called Vespas that, might just, come and suck out your blood and turn it into honey and, make a colony on Earth. And then there's this salamandroid guy. It's just kind of his bro. It's his little bro, but they're big and they're fist bumping. And I'm just like, dude, I gotta see this freaking story. This story sounds freaking awesome. But it's a comic book, you say? I wasn't even aware that comics were still being made right now. Honestly, I had no idea they're still being printed. I thought that the last comic books were made 10 years ago or something, and any ones that exist right now are just ones that are left over. I had no idea they were still printed, no idea there were still comic book stores. I thought that was kind of just a trope in TV shows maybe, to have the nerds hang out at a comic book store like at Big Bang Theory. But no, apparently they're still being made, still real companies, still real comics get made. But I learned a lot of this kind of thing thanks to Ethan Van Sciver, and just the interest in comics started to stem from there. I bought my copy of CyberFrog when he launched it, and I've been waiting for it for a long time. I've read a few comics since then, 6 or 7 comics since then, even Lone Star, which I used Lone Star in a skit that I was doing for my Rookie's Quest episode 2 at the beginning. I have NPCs, or just drawing things that are good, and he burns a copy of Lone Star in that, which oddly enough, the paper did not catch on fire very easily, so, that's okay. The idea is a tissue to burn it and then soak it with water and all that, so it was fun. It was fun, though. Nothing against Mike. Anyway, before I talk about the actual book, I'm just going to talk about the merchandise real quick. It came with a window sticker, of course. Most people know that by now, which I don't have a car yet to put this on. So, maybe if I'm riding my bike, I'll just put it on my neck. I don't know, but no, I'll probably put this on a car when I get one at some point. The bookmark is all right. To me, it reminds me of Godzilla from the Matthew Broderick one. For some reason, that's not an insult. That's just saying the eye thing kind of reminded me of that, of the cover of the movie when it was there. That's cool. And the trading cards, I'm not a huge fan of trading cards personally, but I do admit it's such a weird choice. I know that he said it costs extra to get the foil, but there is something satisfying about opening a foil wrap. You just, the peel it and the tear, and it's basically garbage. But just the act of tearing it open is just satisfying for some reason. I don't know why. But what would have been cool about the trading cards is if these were gaming cards in some way. If these were either poker cards, because I have a whole bunch of different decks from Israel, Seattle. I have an old Transformers one from back in the day. Now just imagine if you had a CyberFrog one, you can just do you have any threes, and have your Salamandroid or Heather Swain or, Chelsins and Vespas, Rumblebee, something on a deck of cards. I don't know what the cost of that would be or what tier you'd have to put that at to reach that or something, but that'd be pretty cool to see some Comicsgate playing cards. Also, I was more of a Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh kid growing up, and something cool about their cards is that they would both look cool and they're a game to play. They have special abilities. Think a CyberFrog had 2,500 attack points or something, and then if you play a fried chicken magic card that raises its attack points by 500, or you summon Chelsin and that equips a rocket to him, and they work together. You put Salamandroid and CyberFrog on the field, and they do some type of combo move against the enemy. And then if there's other comic skaters that have their own trading, their own playing cards, then you could have comic book battles on a playing card game type of thing. Which that's just an idea. It's just a thing that was floating around in my head that would seem pretty cool. I have no idea what that would take to do that, but just a suggestion. But anyway, on to the comic book. The cover is just freaking amazing. I took it out and I looked at this for quite a little while. I even showed my mom, and she has never read comic book either, never been interested in comics, and she took one look at that and was just like, wow, I don't even know what that is, but I want to read it. That looks amazing. Like, just the cover alone was just like enough to make you want to read it. And then the chrome on the back is just very different to what I've seen with comics so far. It's like it's not necessary, but it's also kind of like, in a way, it's like if you're reading this outside on a sunny day and you got your comic book out and you're, maybe put it down for a minute, or you're reading it right here, people might it might catch people's attention. If they see a reflection off, they're like, why is your book reflecting? Oh, it's a comic book. You want to read it? It just seems like that's a pretty cool feature. The autograph thing that's available in the beginning kind of reminds me of like a yearbook, how you go around and you sign people's yearbooks. Of course, these are for like comic book autographs and signatures and whatnot, but this kind of makes me think of high school in a way. Like, hey, can you sign my yearbook? Can you sign my comic book? It's I like that he has like 2 empty pages basically for signatures, so that's cool. Now going on to the actual book, I freaking love part 1. The intro is probably my favorite part of the book, honestly, because it just feels like the opening credits of a movie. It feels like a prologue of a movie. It's just like it's showing all the whole intro parts, all the things that you need to know before the actual start of it begins. Part 2 also kind of leads to where it truly begins, but I like the intro of it. It's like she's just telling the story of her failure and, just going about it, and then there's the little salamandroid, the little tree frog, and these guys were not supposed to be the heroes. It's supposed to be these Boy Scout superheroes, kind of like, basically, like he said in some of his videos, he wanted to make like a Superman, but no, it didn't become a Superman. You got a Super Frog. And the Super Frog look just works. The type of character with it just works. Just like, dig it. I mean, I could picture him just going, doing the flame blast and going, bitchin'. Salamandroid looks freaking awesome. The detail on the images are not just like, oh, look at all the extra stuff that's in there. It just looks heavily detailed, which I appreciate big time. And the fact that Ethan Van Sciver said, like, in a lot of his videos that he wanted it to be 48 pages at first and then he made it around 80 pages, like, I totally understand that, dude. I sympathize, because I write like that too. If I have an assignment that's like, oh, write a 3-paragraph story or something, that bitch is going to be 10 pages long. I cannot do the minimum. I'd go way overboard. I don't know why I always do. And even with drawing, I'm by no means a great artist, but I do sometimes like to draw. And with my drawings, I start with the front images, and then I'm like, okay, how can I actually make this look like there's something going on, and what else can I put in the background? What else can I have going on in the background? And I take a lot longer to draw because I try to fill in as much detail as I can without making it too busy. And if you do it right, it fits really well. And like I said, I'm not a huge comic book person to really be able to know and tell what quality or how comics should be. But based on the few other comics that I read, which one of them was a Star Wars one of them was a X-Men one of them was a Teen Titans one. I'm reading The Watchmen, and that one's taking a little while because it's the full thick version, and I don't sit down to read that too often. I got like a Spawn one that I haven't read yet. These are like 20 pages, but I don't know. Like the CyberFrog one, I sat down and I read it all the way. The other ones, I kind of felt like, I don't really need to finish the book right now. I don't really care. I wanted to see more by the end of this. This is the perfect kind of tease. The way that this book goes is like it gets you interested in what happened in between when he got there and then when the Vespas come, because there's obviously some history there. I mean, they have the Rumblebee, and they seem to have this other guy that was attacking Heather Swain that you're like, okay, that dude's not a normal guy, but we just kind of ignore him, and there's just obvious history there. I know that he created CyberFrog back in the 90s, so it's obviously something to do with that, and he said that some of the ash cans tell some of those older stories, fill in some of the other parts, and I want to find out what happened with that, or his new version on what happens with all that stuff. It seems pretty cool. He enticed me in that area, and then at the end of his book, he also entices to see what the hell happens next, because it's basically just the start of the real invasion. But yeah, there's not too much I can say as far as critique about it. I mean, I don't know. The style, like I said, just seems pretty cool. I love the color palette, the greens, blues, yellows, reds, the way it all kind of works. The way that Kyle Ritter made the colors work is just phenomenal. There's one page where it's like mostly a blue and blackish type of color scheme, a little bit of yellows, and then the next one, it's like a green, yellow, a little bit of dark in there, and it just looks freaking awesome. Like, I love that style. It looks great, and things look shiny in it, like Salamandroid. There's always like some light coming off him a little bit on one end, and it's just really good. His drawing of Salamandroid's head is freaking kick-ass. He's like, think of Harry Potter with that, but still, no, it looks awesome. The close-up is great, and then he gets attacked by a swarm of Vespers at one point, and he's just like, oh, dude, what the hell? Sin's out, Sal's out, what's going on here? I was just in the fight with Rumblebee, and then he gets just knocked out and wakes up, and the world is pretty much fucked at this point, but there's still people around, of course, and he's just like, what the hell happened? I was just in this moment a moment ago, and now it's years later, and I don't know what the hell's going on. It's a great post-apocalyptic type of story setting. I really want this to be a movie someday, or at least an animated show. I could see this being animated and super kick-ass. Honestly, it does not need to be live action. I could see this being an animated show easily, and just, oh my god. Like, yeah, this is for this being independent, for this not being tied to anything else I've ever read before. I have no other knowledge of it other than what I've seen on Comic Artist Pro Secrets. This is freaking awesome. Which is great. This is good original piece right here. Good original character. I love seeing that. And I don't know, this kind of has gotten me, I want to see the next freaking comic book right here. Don't get me wrong though, I want to see Rainbow Brute first, but I know a lot of people want the Wrecked Planet next, so I don't blame you if you go for that next. I apologize if this was hardly a review and just me kind of talking about what I liked with it, because I don't feel like there's much to criticize yet. I don't have enough context of what happens with the whole story to be able to judge it that way. I mean, this feels like a good intro, and it's incomplete with more to come, which he even said he didn't want to stop. He wanted to keep on writing. Again, I totally feel that, man. I always do that myself. Half the time I never finish something because I keep on writing more stuff to it. I think it was a good choice to end it where he did, so we're eager for the next one. We're wanting more. When I was done with the other comics I read, they were just kind of done and out of my mind. This ended in a kind of way where I'm curious about what happens in the future, and I'm curious about what happened in the past when he landed on Earth and before the Vespers arrive. Anyway, that's my thoughts on CyberFrog. This got me excited for the next one. I am eager to see that. Wrecked Planet, fuck yeah, Green Army, whatever that was, Green Supremacy, all that. Yeah, so thanks, man. Good job, EVS. I do believe you are a comic book artist. Now I'm convinced. I wasn't sure before. You know, I wasn't really gonna believe you, but now I believe you. Anyway, peace out. Hey guys, I'm working on some film projects behind the scenes. If you want to help fund these projects or my channel in general, check out the Patreon and Teespring store. Links are in the description below. Do you want to send me a message or just see what I'm up to? Follow me on Twitter @TheRookieCritic. I'm on a mission to finally watch some classic and popular films. Hit me up on Twitter if you want to join a watch party. And I also got a mailbox, so if you want to send me movies or comics to review, send it to 3021 Northeast 72nd Drive, Suite 9, PNB 1560, Vancouver, Washington 98661. Thanks, guys. And cut. That's a wrap.